Hello everyone, welcome back again. I'm doing good. I hope you people are also doing good. And today I came back with another video of Spring Boot. Today we are going to learn how to insert data into MySQL using Spring Boot. Today I will be explaining you how Spring Boot connects with MySQL database and how we can insert data into it using proper structure like controller, service, repository, and entity. So before starting the implementation of code, let us discuss the agenda and overview of this video. So agenda, we are going to start with introduction. Then after we are going to see the tools and technologies that we are going to use in the use to build the project and the project architecture, how the structure of this project is going to be. And later I will explain you the layers of this project. And thereafter we see the data flow, how the data is moving from each layer. Then after we go with the demo preview and we'll end with summary and conclusion. So let us start with the introduction. Objective of this video is to insert data into MySQL using Spring Boot. Okay, so let us go with so let me uh, clear the project with a real world example. Clear this video with real world example. Like if you are using Facebook for the first time, so when you're not going to log in, you're going to sign up for that, right? So when you're going to sign up for that, it will ask you basic details like enter your name, enter your email ID, enter your password, enter your date of birth. So that kind of information it's going to ask, right? When you enter the data and click on the register, the data of you is going to store in the databases of the Facebook. So have you ever had a doubt like how my data is storing in the databases? So in this video, we are going to build the basic model of storing the data into the database with simple example using Spring Boot application, Spring Boot framework. Okay, so and we are going to develop a simple employee registration type project with a beginner friendly explanation. Let us see the tools and technologies that we are going to use to develop this project. We are going to develop this project. Obviously, we are going to use Java programming language. Then after we are going to use Spring framework. And then we are going to use Spring Data JPA. JPA is nothing but Java Persistent API, where it maps the object in the Java application with the table columns. So the JPA which is built on Spring is nothing but Spring Data JPA. And we are going to use MySQL database. And coming to the most important thing, like what is Postman? Postman is nothing but a API testing tool where it is used to test and debug the testful APIs. Okay, and we are going to send the data to the backend through the Postman using post method. And if you want to see the data, if you want to see the data that is there in the database through the Postman itself, you can see the data. We are not going to build the front end application here. You will get an interface, right? Enter the data. So that we are not going to build it here. We are going to just build the backend services. That's it. Okay, using the Postman, we are going to check if the backend, the application is working or not. And I'm going to use HTS IDE to develop this project. You can use whatever you're convenient with, like IntelliJ and Eclipse. And I'm going to check the whether data is inserted in the database or not using MySQL Workbench. So let us discuss about the project architecture. So I'm going to use MVC layer structure where I'm going to use controllers class, service class, repository class, and database which stores the data. And it is a clean, maintainable, and modular code, the separation of concerns. And then after, let us see the layers where we are going to write the code. So first one is entity class. So what is entity class? Guys, entity class is a class that represents the table in the database. So in the Facebook application, you are entering the data, right? Like name, password, email address. So that kind of data, we need to write that in the code, right? So that kind of information we are going to write in the entity class. In the entity class, we are going to define the variables that like name and ID, email ID and password, whatever it may be, whatever you want, we can define in the entity class. And this entity class is going to store in the database. And we are going to annotate it with at entity annotation. So these all are the basic annotation that we are going to use in the entity class. So I will explain you about this while developing the code. Okay. So then we are going to have controller class. What is controller class? So controller class is responsible for handling HTTP requests and responses. So I told you like how Postman sends data. When we sending the data through the Postman, the, the data first hits the controller class where it where the post will sending the data. It checks whether the post method is present in the controller or not. Then after it will move to the further layers. So this is responsible for defining API endpoints like post, get, and everything. It accepts the user input that which you are sending from the Postman using at request body annotation, and will call the services using the methods. Okay. Then after service class is responsible for containing business logic, and it is annotated with at service method at service annotation. Okay, and calls the repository methods to save the data in the database. It acts like a bridge between controller and the database. I hope you understood. And next one is repository class. And guys, repository is an interface that is extending JPA repository, where the JPA repository consists of all default methods that used to store the data in the database. It is directly make the operations on the database. It handles all the database operations. Okay. Then after application properties. What is application properties? In this application property, we are going to give the connection with the database that we are using. So in my project, I'm using MySQL database. So I can connect with MySQL database. I'm going to give the username of my database and password of my database, and I also going to define the database name which we are going to store the data. Okay, and thereafter we will see the flow of the data. When we are sending the data through the Postman in JSON format, it will go in, it first it hits the controller. Thereafter through the methods, it will move to the service layer. Then that through the methods, it will go to the repository layer, and the repository layer fix the data in the database. So this is how data is moved from one layer to another layer. Each layer handles specific responsibility and specification, has their own specifications. The data flows through the method calls. And then this is the demo preview. Walk through the project code and insert the data into MySQL. Then we're going to test this using Postman. Then we'll end with summary and conclusion. So guys, today I'm going to again download the project from Spring Initializer. I already showed you how to download the project in previous video, but in that video I didn't added much dependencies. But this project need a lot of dependencies that which is required to insert the data. So uh, I'm going to import the project from Spring Initializer. I'm going to show you the whole process. So stay tuned. Go to Chrome, open this, search for Spring Initializer. So you can search like this and you can enter. Then after go to the Spring Initializer. Then after here we are going to take the project with the dependencies to our tool, like where we are going to develop the project, and there we can write the code. So you can also do this in your own IDE, but I'm convenient with this, so I'm using this. Okay, I'm going to develop this project in Java. You can set Java, you can whatever it may be. You can, if you are using Kotlin, you can use that, or you can use whatever it may be. I'm using Java. I'm going to build on Maven. Then after I will go with this default version of Spring Boot, and then after I explained you all these things in previous video. So I'm not going to explain this all right now because it's going to be a very lengthy video. Just I will okay, I will say you again. So group name is nothing but a company name. I'm going to give my company name as Prashant. Prashant. And after artifact ID is nothing but your name of the project. So we are going to develop employee registration, right? So we can give like basic employee registration API. API. So enough. It will automatically saves the package name with the group name and artifact ID. So I'm going to use jar package, and I'm convenient with 17 because my ID is everything I'm using in 17 version Java. You can use whatever it may be which is convenient for you. So but I'm using Java 17. And next we are going to add the dependencies, which is very important thing. With these annotations only, Spring going to make our task very easy. Okay, so let us discuss what are the dependencies that we are going to add. And the first dependency is like Spring Web. What is Spring Web? I have added Spring Web. So what is Spring Web? Guys, Spring Web adds support for building web apps and REST APIs. Okay, then I'm going to add Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA. Here you can see this is Spring Data JPA. So what Spring Data JPA does? It supports for JPA, Java Persistent API that we have discussed. It maps through Java objects to the database tables and columns, right? So using Spring Data and helps to connect Java objects to database tables. And then after we are going to use validation. So what this validation does? It supports for bean validation using annotations like note null, size. So we are going to use this different kind of annotation in the project. So these validation annotations will helps to import that annotations. Okay. So thereafter we are going to use dev tools, Spring dev tools. So what this going to do? It enables auto restart and live reload for development. Again and again, we no need to run the application. It will, when we press on Ctrl S, it automatically run the application. No need to again going to build and everything. So then after we are going to use MySQL SQL driver. So this is very important because the driver to connect Spring Boot application with MySQL database. I have doing this. Then after H2 database. So it is also very important to have this because an in-memory database used for testing and development. Okay, I'm added. So thereafter, I have added everything. Thereafter, click on generate. Okay, so it's got downloaded here. Go to downloads. So now we have this. We have downloaded here employee registration API. So I'm creating a new folder where we can store this object. So name this as employee. Enter. In this employee folder, I'm going to store this zip file. So we need to extract this zip file into a normal folder. So I'm going to do that right now. So extract this, click on extract. Well, you can see here you got into normal folder. So make sure that you're going to have pom.xml, which is very important, where all the dependencies are built in here. So we are going to have this. So then after go to STS, open your STS. Then after start importing the project. Just make close the all previous projects. This project, close project. So go to file, click on import, click on Maven existing, browse for new file. We have saved it in downloads. Go to employee, then after click on here, then after click here, make sure that you're opening folder where you can view this MVN and SRC files. Then select the folder, click on finish. Select the pom.xml. So it's saying that project already exists in database. So I already have this project with the same name. So I'm going to delete this project right now. Delete the project. Okay. So I'm going to import it again. Click on browse for new one, come downloads, employee, click here, select the folder, then you got the project. Yeah, you can look here. I got the project like employee registration API. Make sure that you are going to have all this structure. Okay. Yeah, I have this employee registration API, and I have, and your project must and should have main function. So with the main function, the project will start execution here. Okay. So now we have imported the project. I have explained everything in detail in the PPT. So now we have to create the layers. Okay. Now let's create the layers. First we will create class. Layers are nothing but the classes. First we are going to create entity class. Employee, employee entity, and make sure that every class is going to have its own package. I'm going to store this in entity package. Click on it, and so by default, respectively, let's just create a different all the classes. I'm going to create an interface. I'm going to create a repository interface. Student employee receives employee repository, and I'm going to store this in repository package. Click on enter, and parallel I'm going to create a controller and service. I'm going to create service now. Employee service. I'm going to keep in this service package. Click on finish. I'm going to create controller class. I'm going to store this in controller package. Okay, I have added every layer. I have added every layer and every class. So now it's time to build the code. Okay, let's start with the so and make sure that every class is going to annotate it with the respective API. So what these annotations do actually? So when you annotate this every class with their own annotations, this annotation allows Spring Boot to auto direct and inject dependencies and manage the life cycle of component in a clean and layer structure. Okay, so now let's annotate this entity class with entity annotation. Not entity. When you press on Control Shift O, the respective package will is going to import it. So now let us import. Let's write the what are the classes that we need. So how you make the registration? What we're going to store in the database. So what kind of data you want to store in the database? So now I want to store like ID. I'm going to store the ID. ID. Username. Name. Let me give this as a full name. and let's store the salary. Guys, make sure that you're going to follow the naming conventions. Unfortunately, I used a capital letter. And okay, uh, I think these are enough, right? So these are enough for basic application. So then after, I'm going to get the get assign setters for this. So guys, and make sure that you're going to use the wrapper class instead of primitive data types. Okay, so you know what happens when you use primitive data types. So primitive data types, when you're going to store the data, they will get a null pointer exception. So it's better to use the wrapper classes. So I'm going to use wrapper classes. Then after, I'm going to get the getters and setters for this. Generate the select all. Click on generate. Yeah, everything. And let us annotate with annotations. So these annotations are very important, guys. I'm going to annotate and explain you everything. So first, I'm going to annotate with ID. ID. So what this ID does? Okay. Make sure that you're going to import this from Jakarta. What this ID does? ID is used to mark the field as the primary key of the entity. There is a Spring Boot that Hibernate, which field uniquely identifies each row in a corresponding database table. Okay, that is your use of ID. And I'm going to give this as a generated value because ID want to automatically generate it. We're not going to give the ID always. It will be automatically generated by using Spring Boot. So that's the beauty of Spring. So now I want to use auto generated for this. So then after a string, I'm going to use at the rate null, not null. So string username should be important. Username is important. You should not skip the username. The user who is providing the data, he should not skip the username. For sure, he has to send the username. Okay, blank. And that name is also same thing. Name should not be null. Thereafter, we are going to the salary. Salary, I'm not going to mention any annotation here because if the employee is new to the office, so he may get salary or may not get salary. So I also want to add this age of the end user, age, and I'm going to annotate it with min. What this min does, I'll explain you just a minute. 18 and he should be greater than 18. He should be greater than 18 age. Okay, so these are the annotation that I'm going to use, and also I need to generate the person status for ID. So sorry, age. Yeah, we have done with the entity class. Now we are going to write code in repository class interface that extends and here we are going to pass the object of the entity, so where it is going to store in the database. And thereafter we also need to pass the primary key of this data type of the primary key. So data type of the primary key is integer. Yeah, we have done with the repository. Then we are going to implement the controller. Okay, then we start with developing the controller. In controller we are going to just a minute, we are not annotated it with at repository, right? We need to annotate it with at repository. So every class must be annotated with respect to annotation. So save this all and click on the controller. Now we are going to annotate it with @rest controller. So then after so guys, what this request mapping does? So request mapping will take to the respective method. Take the controller to the respective method, and there it will start the initial execution. So let we name this as register, that we have to give in the URL. And this video we are going to have the service class where we are going to call the functions. We are going to call the methods of the service class. So we need to import that service class. Okay. We're not going to create the object of the service class. So we are going to just auto-wire it, where it will automatically take Spring Boot automatically brings the object of the service class. So that's the beauty. So just annotate it with auto-wire. This Control Shift O. So you can see here, you can look here. Employee package is got imported here. Okay. Then after we are going to start writing the post method. Okay, guys. So let's do that. Post mapping. We are going to send the data. We are going to save this data in the database, right? So make this as add 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 employee add employee. Okay. So thereafter write the method here, which going to call the service layer service methods. Public string save employee. At the rate request. So request body employee entity employee. Yeah. So why I'm using request body here? Because we are going to take the body from the postman, right? So that's why I'm going using request body. And also, guys, we have annotated everything. Like we have annotated every variable with their annotations, right? And because of this annotation, we need to use valid here. So where it will it will validates. Okay, so it will validates the whether you are following the rules or not. If it says the user, so he should follow the rules. Then after we'll write the study here. So then after we are going to create method in the employee service. Yeah, from here, so you will see how the repository class is having inbuilt functions. Okay, you are going to call create the object of the employee. See, make sure that you're going to use auto-wide at auto-wide. So when you make this class as a auto-wide, so which we are going to import, so it will provide the object for you. So not going to create the manually. You're not going to create employee class manually, so it will automatically Spring automatically creates and gives the object to you. So that's the beauty of Spring, right? So you look at here, get now dot. I'm going to save. So look at here. I'm not created any. We are not going to create any default save method. Okay, it's already there in the Spring repository, which we are going to which repository is going to take from the JPA repository. Okay, we're going to save the employee. That's it. That's it. We have done this everything, and let's go to resources. Go to application properties. In this application properties, we should connect the database. Okay, we should give the password. We should connect with our database, and we have to give everything. So go to MySQL Workbench. Go to MySQL Workbench. Click on here. So I'm going to create a new database here to store the data. I already have it Prashant's database, so I'm going to drop that database now. I'm going to drop this database now, and let's see how Spring Boot will create its own data. No, I'm going to drop the table. I'm going to drop the table in the Postman database. Show the tables in the Postman database. First use the database. I'm going to use the database. Then after show the tables. So we have employee entity. So now we are going to delete this, drop this table. Okay, yeah, we have dropped the table that which is there in Prashant database. So let us see how are the tables that there in Prashant database. So right now there is nothing, there are no databases, there are no tables in the database. So now let us see how Spring Boot will create it manually. So in this we are going to write the code for this to connect with the database. So right now I'm going to um, use the chat GPT for this. So you can also use chat GPT because it's very for this. SQL database. So you will get everything. You just you should do nothing. Just you can copy this and you can paste it in your application properties. Control V. So here you got everything. And here you are going in the place of username. You are going to give your database username. So my database username is root, and my password. I'm going to check my password. After we are not going. Should know we don't need this whole thing. Yes, and give the database name where we are going to store this table. Okay, I'm going to store this in Prashant DB. So which is there in my MySQL. Okay, so now everything got completed. So now I'm going to execute the project. Go to here, click on run as, now build, package, and run. Enter. So let's see will it execute without any errors or not. If we get any errors, we can easily rectify them. So it's saying that there is an error. So there's something missing in our let's see what is going to miss. So we not mentioned here at service. So these are the small mistakes, guys. We need to see them. So now let's once again run the application. Let us see will it work without any errors or not. So it should work now without any errors. So if we get any errors, we can solve them. That's not any big deal. Thank God it started. Yeah, it's running in localhost Tomcat and port number 8080. Yeah, it's running. So guys, till now we have done with everything. So let's go to. So let's see here. Let's go to database. Let's once check the tables. What are the tables that there in. So till now we have nothing in database, Prashant database. Now we have added Prashant entity, sorry, employee entity in the database. This table is added by the Spring Boot itself. We have not added it manually. It's added by the Spring Boot. Now we are going to insert the data into this table. Okay. Now go to the Postman. Hit the Postman. Create new request HTTP. So now from the controller class, we are going to call the method in the controller class. So we need to, it is running on 8080 port. Okay, thereafter we need to call the request mapping register. Then after slash add employee. So we are calling this post method to store the employee detail. So wait a minute. Yeah, photo postman. Now the postman add employee. Go to the body. We are going to send this in the body. Now select JSON format because we are going to use the JSON format. Spring automatically, with the help of Jackson library, converts the JSON to Java object. So it will, because in the entity class it's an object, right? So how this object is storing, how we are sending the data is in JSON format, but the object, how the Spring it connecting, storing this JSON, this JSON format, this JSON format in object format, because the Spring Boot is internally connecting this everything. Okay. Now I'm going to send the details. First, I'm not going to send the ID because I already told you that it will automatically generate by the Spring Boot. Now I'm going to send the username is like username is AGURLA, and this is username. I will give my full name. It's like Prashant. Prashant Agurla. Thereafter, give my salary. You know the JSON format, right? It will having key value pairs. Salary is around 30,000. Thereafter, age. And guys, here you can see that it should be above 18. And I'm going to keep it 23. Yeah. Thereafter, I'm clicking on shoot. So make sure that everything is going to correct. You have in 8080. After register, register, add employee, click on shoot. So yes, we have added the data to the database successfully. Once go to the service and let us check that the data is added successfully or not. Select from so guys, you can see here ID. We didn't give the ID. It will automatically generate ID. This is the age. This is full name. This is salary, and this is the username. So this is how we are going to store the data. So okay, you're saying that you're storing the data. Then what if the user enters? What if user enters wrong age? So if he enters, for example, if he enters age 2, so what should the error comes? So it will get the error. So you can see that we got the error like bad request. You can also see in coming to, you can see here min age argument, the default age must be greater at least 18. So this is how it will throw the error. So this is the use of these annotations. So about this exception handling, in the next video I'm going to create another video how to handle these errors, because we are not getting understanding, we are not getting this all big error, right? So in the next video I'm going to also work on error handling. So how to get a user friendly error handling, so user readable error. So I'm also going to do that in next video, error handling, because this video is already full became lengthy. So not only that, so for example, if you want to add, if now we are adding only one data, like one employee data, but you want to add multiple data, so at that kind of time you can also add multiple data with the help of, so we copy that, add employees, all employee. So now I'm going to add list of data. Eh, Before we have just added one employee data, right? Now I want to add in multiple employees data. So how can we write for that? How can we write post method for that? So nothing more than that. We just need to add list, because we are going to add list of data, right? So we're going to add list here. That's it. and we are going to do the save all function because we need to save multiple data, right? See here, there is also save all function. It is getting from the JPA repository. Employees. Going to add employees, right? Employees register successfully. Now we are going to add multiple employees. Go to Postman and add employees, not employee, employees. Yeah. So now I am going to add multiple employees. So look at this, how I am going to create. We'll see. Dolby. So now I'm going to give this username as hello, name as Nick. I give him name as hello John. John, his salary might be 35,000. So age is 24, 23. And I'm going to add another name. His name is Hi. His name might be Nick. I'm going to give the name as Nick. And his salary is 36,000 and his age should be 25. And let us add one more data. We now his username is by John completed, Nick completed, Mick, and his salary is 37,000. Age is 26. Okay, now let us call this. You can see employees. Now before we got like employee registered successfully, but now we are getting employees registered successfully. So here you can see that multiple employees are added to the database. Now go to the database and click on this once again. So now the ID is 1. Now it should be generate 4 IDs, like till 4 IDs. Yeah, you can see that John, Nick, Mick, username, hello, hi, bye. So these guys, this is how we are going to store the data into the database. You can store one employee data, you can store multiple employees data. So this is how we are going to store in the database. In next videos, I'm going to show you how to get the data of single data by using his ID, getting multiple data of the users, multiple data of the employees. Okay. In next video we are going to work on that. In the next video we are going to also work on the exception handling, like how to get. Now we got a lot of big error, right? So in the next video we are going to get the error. The error should be like user friendly, the user should understand. So this is what kind of error this is. So I'm going to work on that next video. And thereafter, not only that, we are going to also work on delete the data, put the data, change the data in the database. So we are going to see the all function. I think you people are understood. If you have any doubt, like if you have um, any problem with my voice or explanation, you just ping me in the comment section. I will improve that in my next videos. Okay guys, thank you.